I'm Zoe Joyelle.
And I'm Alexis Simone.
And this is the Soundwaves Podcast,
where we dive deep into the rhythms and stories that shape our world.
Yes. Cheers, sister. So what are we drinking today?
Ooh, alright, so today we have a mocktail. This flavor is an Aperol Spritz.
Aperitivo.
Ooh, this is Aperol.
I thought it was aperitivo.
This one is Aperitivo Lover. Okay, so it's a bittersweet.
No, because it's a real drink. It's a real alcoholic drink called aperitivo. So I guess that's a play on words.
Oh, so okay.
The company called it Aperol, my bad.
And this is Spritz. And so we don't know the adaptogens in it because they patent their own blend of adaptogens called Afterglow. Mm-hmm. And so we won't be able to give y'all all the details. You'll just have to try it out. But this has a bittersweet conundrum. It's perfect for aperitivo lovers who like to stay sharp AF. That's super cute. So let's go ahead and taste this.
It don't smell like it tastes good.
It smells like black Fanta.
Okay.
I love that it's a color though. It's very potent. It do. What is the aftertaste?
Oh, the aftertaste is like very cardboard.
Yeah, what is that? I wish I would have known the ingredients. They don't really list the ingredients in it, but it has a woody, musky taste. Y'all, I don't know about this one. You might like it though. So if you like wood, musky kind of flavors, this might be smoky, I should say. This might be good for you.
Okay,
but
just to give you guys a little bit more into it, on the website it says Italian AF, bittersweet orange, herbal notes, and Prosecco vibes.
I can tell the Prosecco.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something else in here that I'm just not a fan of.
Yeah.
But it's drinkable. Like, I can drink this.
Look at my face. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know, y'all. This might be one of the least favorites, but it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's just not what I was expecting. But it has a nice fizz to it.
Yeah.
But okay.
Sorry.
Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. We just came off Father's Day. It was this past Sunday, so we wish you a happy Father's Day from Soundwaves. Today's icebreaker is centered around Father's Day, and it's what kind of relationship do you have with your father?
I have a good relationship with my dad. I'm grown, so I feel like at this point, look. But I have a good relationship with my dad. When I was growing up, my sister wasn't born until I was 8, so I really did get like a only child experience with both of my parents while I was growing up. Daddy's girl vibes, spoiled vibes turned into entitled vibes that I'm now checking.
A correlation
in my life. But yeah, no, I have a good relationship with my dad.
That's good. I have an interesting relationship with my dad. I did not grow up with my dad in my life. He was in my life up to the age of 8, and then from 8 to 25, 26, I did not see or hear from him. So that's a big jump, a big gap of just not knowing anything about your dad and where he was or talking to him. But I will say I'm in contact with him now. Like, we talk time to time now, and it's okay. Like, I don't have any expectations around our relationship. I might have mentioned in other episodes that I'm still just learning how to forgive as far as or just release the expectation of the relationship I wish I would have had from him as just having a present father. But I think it's okay. Like, we are cordial. We'll talk every now and then. We spoke on Father's Day, things like that. I can say I'm on the road to forgiving him and just accepting who he is as a person.
That's good. Maturity.
Yeah.
I know we had quite an interesting beginning on this drink.
Yeah.
I just want to give my second review.
Okay.
First of all, if you're new here, we only drink mocktails.
Only.
What's so funny is that we had one episode where we recorded and we had real wine because we didn't have mocktails in the house, and that video disappeared. So clearly the Lord does not want us to post a video with real alcohol, so yeah.
And you could tell
it's gone.
Rethinking about that video, like, we was lit. Okay. Lit.
Yeah, so that's our thing. We only do mocktails on the show. Usually they have adaptogens in them, and this brand AF definitely has adaptogens in it. It's just that they patent their own, so we don't necessarily know which ones. But my second review, I would say I do like the warm feeling that it gives you, and I do feel some type of clarity in my head. So I'm definitely, if you like that bitter, it definitely is more bitter and herbal. Definitely go check them out.
Period. It does have a warm feeling, like going down the throat. Right. It might be from the orange. I don't know.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about oversharing, experiences with oversharing, and what you can do to stop if that's something that you're looking to do. So name a moment you've overshared and regretted it.
So I wouldn't necessarily consider myself an overshare, but I get comfortable talking to people very often sometimes, and so I will just talk and ramble, especially like if I'm at the workplace or, like I said, just comfortable with you. So I'll just talk. And I was working at my job one year, and it was time for me to ask for like a raise or promotion. And in response to me asking, she brought up stuff that I had shared with her just through conversation in the past, to basically say and invalidate why I don't deserve a raise. It was something so small, y'all. I had a new pair of shoes on my feet that wasn't really new. I just wasn't wearing them to work. And she was like, you don't need a raise. You have new shoes on your feet. And, you're just looking for a raise because you're having some issues in your home and you're just ready to move out and things like that. And I was just like, huh?
That is crazy.
I was so taken aback by the one unprofessionalism, but then just also having that thrown back in my face to basically say why I don't deserve something that has no correlation. Like, my personal life has no correlation with why I deserve a raise with the work I'm doing for your business. Yeah. So I instantly regretted it, and I was like, never again. Yeah. Especially not at work.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It feels like a slap in the face, for real.
It was.
Yeah. My moment, I don't want to get into all the details, but I would say, I feel like at some point we realize that we get too old to be oversharing what's going on in our relationship. Because if you think about it, we kind of grow up like that. Like, the girls are with the girls, the guys are with the guys. Y'all be talking about all the different things, your new boyfriend, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but it's like exciting.
Like,
finally share.
But when you get into that older, more mature relationship, things do get more complex. And also, you and your friends don't necessarily have the same, I don't even want to say the same thoughts because it's like, duh, but you don't have the same wants out of life. You don't know if they want even like marriage or a family. You don't know where people's real goals and morals is really at to be oversharing relationship stuff, because they're only going to give an opinion based on the outcomes that they want out of their life, and it might not necessarily align with yours. But I will say, I had a disagreement with my friend, and it didn't have nothing to do with the relationship I had overshared about, but it ended up coming back to me because they were like, oh, and I know you're the type of person that like looks for validation, or like when you're unsure you share with other people and blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was a slap in the face.
I never heard this.
That was a slap in the face. And it's crazy because what we were even had a disagreement about had nothing to do with the relationship, but they brought that up. So it's like, it always ends up being a slap in the face, And it's so crazy because in the midst of telling people stuff, you don't even think that they look at you like, oh, look at this girl like oversharing, like why the fuck she doing that? Like, yeah. But I guess that's how they be looking at you at the end of the day when you make them mad. Wow. We're not gonna pause the episode and tell them like and tell you like, yeah.
We might have to go back to that after this episode. I need to know the more details. But okay, no, that's facts though. Like, you really don't know what somebody else is thinking on the opposite end until it benefits them to say it in a certain way. Like, for example, I would never thought my boss would say that in response to me just having a moment with her asking for a raise and really coming back and saying that. One, I didn't even think it was that serious for you to remember and recall to say.
Right.
It's like, okay. But have you ever encountered a conversation with someone oversharing? And if so, what was your response or reaction?
Yeah. At my job, my manager overshares OD.
Yeah.
OD. And it be depressing stuff. And I feel like, maybe in person, like, of course you want to show some type of care.
Empathy.
Because clearly people are going through things. But at some point, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, dang. Like, I be dry because I want you to stop.
Yeah.
I want you to stop. And then the other example is just someone that I don't think I'm necessarily, we're not really friends no more, but they would constantly, whenever we did talk, because we don't talk that much, and you know, we grown, like, some friends, based on proximity, you're not going to really talk to them as much. Mm-hmm. But when we started to talk, it was always about their life, and it was like a whole
production
life update from breakups to FBs to, I don't know, to a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like it because it never felt like they cared about what I had to say. It was just like, I was just like a dumping platter. So I didn't like that. But I just responded the same way. Like, I don't have much to say besides, oh, okay. Because if I don't give you much, I'm hoping that this conversation ends soon.
Yeah, and then kind of makes you think, like, what's the intention right now oversharing? Like, are you just looking for somebody to hear you out or listen?
Right.
Or is it just like, are you looking for advice? Like, what are you exactly looking for when you're oversharing? That's something to think about if you are someone who probably catches yourself oversharing time to time.
Yeah, and then I just want to add this. When you're that friend, just be mindful of, like, you may not be doing it maliciously, like when you're trying to update somebody and saying all of these different things, but you have to be mindful, like, hey, did I ask my friend how are they doing?
Yeah.
What's new in their life? Like, you need to be thinking about that before you just be dumping on people.
Facts. That's emotionally dumping.
Yeah.
And that can be very toxic and draining on the person you're doing it to.
Right.
Yeah. I think my interaction, because I have been in a situation where someone was oversharing, and we were out for our mutual friend's birthday, and we were just getting to the place. It was like a lounge, and you know, you're excited to see people, so you're like, hey, so we're just talking, and then she just starts like spilling it out, and it's like, girl, we in the club, kind of like. I don't know, this is the time and place for that. Like, you know, the music is loud. I'm also trying to engage with other people who are here to celebrate the friend. I'm also in my own world. Like, I'm out enjoying the music, and you're just like telling your whole life story almost, and the issues that you're having with the man and how you're over it. And it's just like, I can't even respond. If your intention is for me to listen and actually hear you out, I can't even do that effectively. It's loud. I have no idea what you're really saying. And I don't know the response. I don't have a response, because if I actually did care and have something that maybe that was like beneficial to you, I can't give that to you because I'm yelling. We're just both yelling. And so my reaction was kind of just like, okay, like similar. Like, I was just like, oh wow, okay. And I'm kind of like looking around.
You waiting for them to stop.
Yeah, like, okay. Because I can't hear you for real. And it's just like, this is not the time and place for this. Not to be screaming back and forth about how you should leave that man and figure out some self-worth. And no, it just wasn't the time and place. So it was just like, okay, literally, okay.
Yeah.
And bobbing my head. And that was it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
What do you think the root is to oversharing?
I think there's several roots. Mm-hmm. I think, maybe speaking from my own experience, you're just like excited. Like, maybe you haven't really been around people and haven't talked to somebody in a minute, and so you're just like finally excited to get out the house and see people, and you're just like, and then this has happened, and this is happening, and this is happening, and I just have so much to say because maybe I haven't really been talking to nobody. I haven't given nobody a call or anything like that. And so excitement, I think, loneliness, that kind of goes with the excitement, like as far as what I just said, like you haven't been talking to nobody, you haven't really been outside engaging with people, so you've been a little lonely. And so now that you have an opportunity to talk to somebody, you're finally able to do so, so you're just spilling it all out rapidly. I also think sometimes just looking for other answers, you're kind of maybe confused on what you're going through or what you have going on, and so you're just looking to seek other people's opinion or advice and wanting to hear the feedback they may have for your situation to kind of give you maybe some insight or a clear answer. Like, maybe you're actually seeking an answer. And then also, I would say,
you took all the answers.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
And my last one, I would say, is maybe also like a little bit of anxiety. Like, I've noticed sometimes when people have some social anxiety that they will start just spilling out and oversharing because they don't really know how to engage in the conversation at the moment, especially if they're like new, like you don't really know them like that, and maybe y'all have like a mutual friend, and this is like the only way they know how to maybe like engage and connect. So you just start like you might have just asked a simple question like, hey, how have you been? And they're just like, oh, well, now that you've asked, this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, I just met you. Yeah. Like, I just met you, just my first impression of you, and I don't really know if it should have gone into all of this.
Yeah, and maybe you're uncomfortable with the blank space, because there's going to be a blank space when you hang out with people sometimes.
Right, especially when you're just meeting people. Like, it's in your friend group, or maybe you're just like a friend of a mutual friend, and you're just trying to find that way to connect. It's a little social anxiety, you don't know what to say, and so you just start saying whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those, 10 out of 10. I think the one I was going to speak on was the unsure one, because I know for me, like the example I gave earlier with when I was oversharing in a relationship, it was definitely, the root for me was being unsure. But also, I'm now thinking like it was also being impatient and not being comfortable in being unsure. So like I'm looking for answers everywhere instead of just letting time play out, praying about it, and getting an answer from my own experiences. So definitely that. When she gave the example of a girl, y'all being out and then she's oversharing, I really do wonder what that is when we're in like uncomfortable situations with people, especially dating, and we're oversharing, especially to someone you may not be that close with, just for them to tell you things you already know. I don't really know why we do stuff like that. But I think the root for me was definitely being unsure and being impatient and looking for a way out of being uncomfortable. But you really don't get it from other people, because at the end of the day, it's your life and you have to make that decision for yourself. And like I said before, everyone doesn't want the same outcomes or even care about the same things. So I don't think people are going to be able to tell you the right thing to do at the end of the day.
But I think that's also maybe why people do it though, because they do want you to tell them. Like
they do, but they don't be listening for real.
Right, I'm not listening, but subconsciously I'm oversharing, looking for an opinion because I'm hoping it's different from what I already know. Like I'm hoping that it is a different outcome, a different piece of scenario. I think in that moment
you're looking for some comfortability. In that moment, like you're looking for people to ease whatever it is that you're going through. So
and so, but it's like I may have something similar to say or something completely different from what you wanted to hear. But like you said, it goes back to you at the end of the day. You have to still make the decision that's best for you.
Yep.
So do that. Okay. What topics are considered oversharing?
That's funny. I was watching Poor Minds today. I love Poor Minds. Yes, I love them. But I thought about, they have a segment when they talk about, let's get into the bed. Yeah. And for me personally, because they have Val on there, he was like, he don't really talk about stuff like that with his friends. And I could agree. I don't want to hear about that. I'm not going to lie. We are grown, and I do not want to hear about your bedtime stories. I really don't. I'm good. So that's one. I think at this point, relationship stuff is oversharing too. For my Love Island girlies, Huda was like, because Jeremiah had shared like they was going through problems. He said it to the girl. He was like, oh, I don't want to just jump. You have to be a Love Island fan to know what I'm talking about. But basically, they had a new girl in the house, and he was like, I don't want to just jump to the next girl just because me and Huda are having problems. And when he told Huda that he said that, she was like, what? First of all, don't ever talk about us. And if you do, especially don't tell nobody about our problems. And I was like, no, for real. Like, that's something I've definitely learned in my older age. That's oversharing. Once again, people do not always want the best for you or do not even care about the same things you care about. And some people really be promoting like, F that, like leave them. But they cannot speak for you. Literally, they have no idea what y'all have planned on and everything you have going on. So relationship, bedtime stories, I'm good off. Yeah. What else? I think depending on who you're talking to, family stuff could be oversharing too. Everybody needs somebody to talk to. There's always that one person. Hopefully you have at least one person you can talk to. But general settings and stuff like that, I think the family stuff is doing too much too. Yeah, so basically like all intimate kind of relationships. I can agree, like, I don't know, y'all. I'm like so off and on with it. Like bedtime stories, it's uncomfortable hearing people, like my friends, like if we ever mention like, and then what? But it's also so juicy. Like I kind of be like, and then what happened? Like it's entertaining, but also that's not one that's oversharing.
But also I don't want to hear that at the same time.
It depends on who it's coming from. Like if we're not that close, like we're like you said at a mutual friend's dinner party.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about?
Right. Yeah. It definitely depends. To a certain extent, because to a certain extent, I still probably wouldn't be like, Zoe, and then what you did, and I would be like, ugh. I don't want to look at gains an image. So bedtime stories to a certain extent. Like, you know, you went on the first date with somebody and y'all kissed. I'm like, ooh, then what happened? Like, you know, did y'all like hang out after that, or did y'all just go home? Stuff like that. But real intimate bedtime stories, I'm good on. You creating pictures in my head. I don't really need to know that, especially if we're not that close.
Yeah.
Relationship problems, I can piggyback up on for sure. Not everybody wants the best for you, for real. Like, and sometimes your friends may honestly do, but they may be in a place where they're not experiencing the best aspect of their life, maybe with relationships or a partner, and maybe they're dating and stuff like that. And so maybe subconsciously they could be jealous or something like that. And you're telling them, and in their head they could be like, oh yeah, like they're going something too, you know. Thank you, kind of reassures me that everything will be okay, that I know that you're also hurting and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't want to be hurting though. Like, I don't want to be miserable. Yeah. So you really, it's kind of like best to just like keep it to a certain extent. Like, what you do disclose to people about like relationship problems, like if it's something brief, like, you know, yeah, we're just, you know, figuring some stuff out, done. Not, we broke up last Tuesday and he was calling me all type of names and all that, like, no, especially if you're gonna go back. There's no point.
And unfortunately, us as girls, we really do. People can't tell me we didn't come from a history of doing that. We was all doing that in high school and stuff like that. So it's like something you have to break the habit of. Like, you have to get out of that. I
literally remember in high school going through a really bad breakup, and I made a whole post about how sad I was on Instagram. On Instagram, like looking back, that is so embarrassing. But we girls was doing that. We was posting on our Facebook, posting on Instagram.
The repost was telling the whole story.
Repost. Don't forget on Facebook you could change your status, and then all of a sudden it was everybody's business.
I remember that.
It would make a whole post about it that you changed your status from taking a single. So we do come from a lineage of oversharing, like for sure. And so it's sometimes so it's natural. Like, you come from doing that, so you naturally think, oh, I'm just gonna tell you, like, hey, you haven't caught up in a minute, so now I'm just telling you everything that me and my man going through. And it's like, but I'm going back, so.
Yeah, or also I just think it brings more confusion to the situation.
Yeah.
I know some people want you to embrace all the aspects of your life, but it really does make you more confused. Or it makes it drag out longer than it needed to, when you really could have just processed that for a little while and moved on.
And prayed about it.
Yeah.
Because when you start taking in too many opinions, it's like, I'm really even more confused now.
Right.
So I'm so much more confused.
And then your friends, if they care about you, it might not even be with a malicious intent, but they'll ask you like, oh, so what ended up happening?
Yeah.
Now you gotta explain that.
You could have just
shut up and moved on, and that would have been it.
Right. Especially if you're going back. I just keep throwing that out there because it's been so many times that I may have overshared, and it's like, girl, what happened? We back together. We back together. So it becomes repetitive. So it's just like, what is the point of oversharing if you're gonna go back? If you done with that man for real, okay, you know, you can tell, you can give a little update.
Yeah, we can have a wine night.
Yeah, we can have an update if you're done for real. But yeah, we could just wrap all that up into intimacy. Also, I know some people, I don't really mind oversharing, or not oversharing, but disclosing some of this, but some people don't like talking about like finances.
Yeah, I thought about that.
My mom is very big on that. Like, do not ask her about no money, nothing like that. She don't play about that. And I think that's some people's reality. Like, people don't like to disclose any information about like their money, financial situations, and things like that. But for me, I don't really care. Like, if you coming from a place of just wanting to know more about a field or something like that, and how you know, by balancing your finances, I don't mind disclosing that.
Yeah, I don't mind either.
Yeah, I don't mind. But all intimate relationships, family problems, relationship problems, bedtime, because I don't really want to know that. Like, all that wrapped into one, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the pivotal moment or change that makes someone stop oversharing?
When someone responds nasty or just not how you would want, is one. Because I disclosed, it wasn't even oversharing, but I just briefly disclosed like why I went viral on TikTok for a hot second. And these people did not respond well. They was like taken aback by it. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that again. Like, maybe, you know, you kind of see like maybe everybody's not going to respond in the way that you would.
Yeah.
And so that was a pivotal moment. And then also I think when you just realize that it really does come down to how you feel. Like, whatever the reason may be that you were oversharing and disclosing information about yourself out of whatever root or intent, it just still goes back to what decision you want to make for yourself that's best for your life. And once you realize that, I really do think you kind of just start fading away from it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really feel the need. I'm not feeling any void by doing this, or I don't feel the desire to do so. I don't have the urge to really meet up and finally just dump everything that I was going through. Because I just know that it's based on what I want to do and my own opinions and decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the pivotal moments was like a year or two ago where I had met this girl through a friend, and we was cool. We was getting to know each other, and she was inspiring, like, what she had going on. So I started to get a little bit closer to her, but it was a pivotal moment because we ended up not being cool. Like, I think our personalities just clashed, and I was just like, dang, that's a person that's like no longer in my life but has like information about me. Not like I'm this like top secret person or anything, but like that's a little bit uncomfortable. Like, you need to be slower to share and not always thinking just because this person is like admirable, does that mean that they need to know like certain things about you? Do they have the best advice just because they're doing well in one category of life? You don't know how these people are really doing in all these other categories. That's one. And I think, like she said, like, it comes back to what you want to do. But I think also just seeing the reality of other people and how their life is and the outcomes that they have, whether you're talking about a relationship to somebody that's older than you, but do you necessarily want their kind of relationship? Yeah. Maybe not. You know, you don't know what's really going on in people's lives. So I really feel like it's just best to figure that out internally and keep it moving. And one of the biggest things I was thinking about and saying when we thought of this episode was like, it really doesn't make sense to share with people that are not going to pray for you. Right. Because when people are in a depressive state, and we've all been there, the spirit of jealousy, the spirit of envy, the spirit of just being miserable and wanting other people to be miserable with you. Like, you don't want to share that with people just because they're your friend. Just because they're your friend doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy and in a space to want better for others. So there's no point of sharing. And they don't even got to be all of that. Maybe they're not even praying people. Yeah. I don't necessarily need to share with people that don't really like actively want the best for me. And one of the episodes we were talking about like what we want to do better, and not one of the things for me was like to be a better friend, like really being intentional, really checking on people, really praying for people. So no, I don't want to share with people that don't want the best for me. Right. So yeah, it's big. It makes a difference, I think, when you know you're sharing something with somebody and know that they have a genuine intention for you. Like, you can disclose something to me and I really do care. Like, I really do want better for you or what's best for you. So I am going to shoot a prayer up to the Lord and really release that. Right. But I mean, I can't say I've always done that. Some stuff really has been tea. Right. You know, I was always one of the person, like, somebody like, don't tell nobody. I'm like, girl. That's what, who just told me, and like, recently I be saying, like, based on what the hell people be doing sometimes, I be like, my life is not tea. Yeah. Like, even when I say intentionally checking up on people, that I really want to know, like, are you okay? Is this okay? What's going on? But you could just tell when certain people be like, oh, so what ended up happening? Like, you're looking, like you're about to grab popcorn and sit down and listen to me. Like, it never gave that. It never gave that. Like, that's not cool. Like, you don't have, like, a genuine intention for me. You're not. Yeah, no. It could be something very serious and you're looking at it as, like, entertainment because you got your own stuff going on in your own life. Yeah. For real. That's not cool. It's not. Okay, do you have any tips for those who do overshare on how to stop? Why should you think about stopping? I think you should think about stopping literally from what we said. Like, sometimes it can be a slap in the face. It can also cause confusion. And you may not get a response that you actually wanted, you know? Yeah. So I think those are reasons to think about when stopping. When it comes to a relationship, because that's one of the ones we kept going back to, I do think that when you overshare stuff in your relationship, it creates more distance than it does closeness, I would say, because you really need to work it out with that person and really see their personal opinions on what you're thinking about, and just seeing like, hey, can we agree on something, you know? Yeah. So I think those are reasons you should think about stopping. And then tips, I would say getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So sitting in that before reaching out to a bunch of different people. I think everyone should at least have one person, but multiple people and multiple confusion, no, I think that's too much. I think also a journal would help and prayer for sure, but one of the main things for me is like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. But I also know that if I share with these people, that they're not gonna necessarily make me comfortable. Like in the moment, it feels good to talk about it and say it out loud. So even talking out loud and praying out loud can help. Yes. So I think that's a tip. But definitely just being slower with your emotions and learning how to sit with that before trying to like rush out of it.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm very big on prayer and especially journaling. Like, write it down, say it out loud, do whatever you need to do to really release it instead of just jumping and talk to somebody else about it. Because sometimes, you know, as women especially, like, we just be in our head and it don't even be that major sometimes, especially to go share with somebody. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you really do just need to think for a second or stop thinking and go jump into the reality of the world around you and walk and work out and maybe sit in nature and things like that to clear your head on what you actually are going through. I think one tip I would say is before you share something with somebody, like think about like the intention of why you're sharing it with them. Like, are you sharing it with them to receive some type of advice, or are you asking for them to just listen and hear you out? Like, what is the intention of you actually disclosing all this information to them before you do it? Like, what are you actually seeking? Mm-hmm. Because then you'll kind of get a reality check like, oh, nothing. Because somebody is not always going to respond like how you wanted them to. So now what? Now you are left feeling unfulfilled with how you just shared everything. Mm-hmm. Now you regret it. What was the point of going down that line just to feel the feeling of regret? It's in the cycle of disappointment. Yeah. So I would just first ask yourself, like, before I share this information, what am I looking to receive from it? Am I going to be okay if they don't say what I want to hear? Am I going to be okay if they have a disagreement with it? So that's the first thing I would say. I would say also just maybe taking a moment to journal, release it, and clear your mind. Step out into nature, go for a walk, work out, because you know it really isn't always that deep to share it with somebody. Yeah. Like, it's really not.
And if you're seeking release, I think the journaling is such a good one because it really do be feeling better sometimes. Or you might need to go outside too if you're that mad. But the journaling be working.
Right, I'm such a big advocate on journaling because when you really look at it on paper and even like read it back to yourself, I'll never forget when I like opened one of my journals from college. I was like, girl, was you depressed or what? Like, this is so sad to read. Yeah. Like, please.
I had to throw my journals from college out.
Yeah.
Look, y'all gotta go.
It was too much.
It was.
It's like, so once you write it down, even in the moment, like if you just finished writing it down, you read it, you like, girl, you sound crazy. Sometimes, like once you journal it and step outside and get back in touch with reality, you realize that it really was just in the moment. So that's important to just think about before you hit your girlfriend up or go out to the party and you like, because you didn't take any other steps before then. So that's what I was saying.
And I think that it's okay to be going through things. Mm-hmm. We have to realize that maybe we weren't taught how to emotionally manage ourselves. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think we're intentionally taught that as kids or anything like that. Maybe now.
I know I wasn't.
Yeah, maybe now in the newer generations like us because we think about stuff like this. But we're literally learning that in our 20s, unfortunately. So it's okay to keep them things to yourself sometimes and just figure it out alone.
Yeah. But everybody doesn't want to be alone.
Oh. That's a sad reality. And I'm not even saying be alone because I said everybody should have at least somebody. But sometimes you could really just put that stuff on paper and give it to the Lord, baby. Okay.
I just need somebody.
So, right. They treat me like somebody. Okay. So if you're new here, we're gonna get into our moment.
Yes.
Yeah. So today's moment, I'm not gonna over-explain it. Today's moment is, as we get older, do you find yourself becoming more or less vulnerable, and why?
I think I just become a little bit more intentional with who I'm vulnerable with. Mm-hmm. I think I just have, it's just a boundary. Because I wouldn't say I'm less vulnerable. I don't necessarily think oversharing and vulnerability are the same thing.
No, they're not.
You can still be vulnerable with someone without sharing your whole life history. I think I have a boundary now. So I will be vulnerable with people, but it's just not, I'm not wearing my heart on my sleeve. I'm not maybe crying at the dinner table. I'm just like, I'm able to express my feelings and emotions without, it just coming off, I don't know, like OD, like where it's just like this is a little bit too intense for me. And I'm not doing it with everyone because I don't think everybody deserves access to your vulnerability. And maybe, especially if you're still like building a relationship with somebody, I think it's important to share some vulnerable aspects when you're building a new relationship, but take it one step at a time. I would say. Yeah.
I think for me, as I get older, I'm becoming more vulnerable where it matters. And I've realized that my lack of vulnerability has caused me to not be able to maintain like newer relationships in my life, friendships and stuff like that. So I definitely think I'm becoming more vulnerable, but in a way that it matters. So I'm not just out here just vulnerable, I'm just vulnerable.
Yeah, like,
no,
I'm
like,
walking around like,
like no, it's not giving that.
Here's my heart.
You remember the mood nail polishes?
Yeah.
It's not giving that. But I'm definitely being more vulnerable where it matters, and I think the change has come just being able to articulate ourselves more, just figuring out what actually matters and what doesn't, to be honest. So, yeah. Shout out to time and maturity and experiences in life.
We hope y'all growing too.
Right. And the biggest thing that I just hope you all take from this is think about who actually wants the best for you. Think about their mental states. Think about would these people pray for me before you just go out and be blobbing everything all over the place. Yeah,
especially on the internet, y'all. Be careful what you share on the internet. It gets dangerous out here.
Yeah. People be screenshotting stuff.
Yeah.
All types of stuff.
Don't be like me and talk about the whole breakup for 50 of my followers to see, because that's all I had back then.
That's funny. Is there anything else you want to give to the peeps before we go?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for riding the wave with us.
We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same vibe.
Bye.